Samurais were people, and so they're. But these guys were Ronin. In other words, they didn't have a master. They didn't have a clan that they were with. Say, so they were Ronin. But they had the honor and they had the skills. You know, like maybe their people were wiped out or something. So they didn't have anybody to hang with. See, but you know, yeah. Why? Why were they willing to do that?
I didn't get why. I wouldn't do it.
Oh, I know that. See, and that's what I want you to get. See, I probably would. Because I see a different world. You know, can tap different stuff. And I know, you know, like I was talking to Chuckles here about how many times I'm almost died, you know. I say, this doesn't occur because you play it safe, right? It doesn't occur because you take the easy road, and the comfortable road, et cetera, you know. It's the opposite. But it occurs because you're pursuing something, rightly or wrongly, but you're pursuing something, obviously, that's could be dangerous. You see. But why? Why do that? Why do that? Like, why jump off cliffs? That's another thing I did with Bill, right? We went and jumped off cliffs to see what would happen. And that was a training. It was a training of the mind. They weren't sheer vertical cliffs. Most cliffs aren't. But the cliffs that went down to the ocean off Highway 1. See? And we wanted to train, for example, to think on your feet or in the air or on your back or wherever, you know, it's like, however it's going, right? See? And to solve problems incredibly quickly where, you know, your well-being is at stake. Now, you'd say, well, that's ridiculous. You could get hurt. It's true. We could get hurt, right? But the rewards were far greater than the possibility that we could get hurt. See? And you guys don't get that. I'm not saying jump off cliffs. You're not ready to do that anyway. See? But you don't understand that. See? That's why I'm having you watch these things. So you don't understand that. You don't get that. Why would the first guy shave his head? See? And part of it is that you need to know shaving his head is a phenomenally big thing to do. The samurai never shaved their head. They had that hair that marked them as a samurai. You understand? For him to shave it off was a huge sacrifice. And he did it just to save a girl's life. No, that was in the beginning. That's the very beginning. The beginning of the movie. You know, he's down by the stream shaving his head. See, and that he did that, that's when Mifune and the others said, whoa, you know, you're a master. You know, you're something. And he wanted to study with them. And he said, no. See, I want you to be masters. There's a ways to go, I understand. But see, if the process isn't started, if the seed isn't planted, you're never going to get there. And I want you to understand that even though there may be danger involved, or discomfort, social, you know, personal stuff, you see, whatever. See, but it's clear when it's physical, you see. You know, but it's the same kind of deal. Like, even though that's involved, that there may be something much more powerful at play that's worth doing, and that you become a different kind of person when you can do that. And the person that you become is one that could be happier. There's a reason they could be like that. There's a reason they could joke with each other like that because they understood each other and they all lived in the same world where death was right there. They know it. And they're not running from it. Obviously. Yeah, hey, what can I say? Some of it is just an unspoken understanding. See, there's no like rule or formula that's going to get you there. See? And you were not raised in a culture or an environment or probably a family that had that. They didn't have that. They didn't have that value. They didn't understand, etc. It wasn't there for you. I mean, I had a father, at least, that was, World War II, in the service, and so he had that kind of mentality. He was like, as a Boy Scout, basically. But that whole understanding that sacrifice was the noble thing to do, that sacrifice was what it was to be a man, not self-protection. And it's about samurai. Well, yeah, samurai. There was idiot samurais. There were official samurai. Like business type. Well, not, but they couldn't be merchants. They weren't merchants. They looked down on the merchant class. But how do you say? Anyway, there's all kinds of samurai. They weren't all noble, great, but some of them were. That's where the legends come from. It's just like the Zen people. You think all the Zen people were noble and great and enlightened? Hell no, not by a long shot. See? But some of them were, and that's where the legends come from. And that's why Zen has the reputation, because of the few that were really enlightened, or really whatever, really did stuff, what I'm saying, really created the legends. The guy, the first Zen disciple, right, cut his arm off to show that he was committed, right? See? Now, that's an awfully extreme thing to do, and in our culture it doesn't seem reasonable at all, and I'm not saying it is, but he obviously had a different perspective, didn't he? That's what I'm saying. There was a Zen nun. She was pretty. And you live in a monastery, especially with guys, right? And they obviously didn't have two separate things. I had a woman tell me she went to a Zen monastery, and she said the moment she entered, she was hit on relentlessly by the monks. Wanted to get her in a closet or whatever. The guys are deprived, what I'm saying? They're like just nuts. And, because they're also men, Did you listen to that part in Alcatraz? One of the prisoners is talking about how they had no females at all. It was all male. Everything. The guards, the prisoners, etc. All male, no females anywhere. And he said, two things. He said they would stand, there's like bars with the opening up above in a certain place. It's called what do they call that? Broadway. Yeah? See, they called it Broadway, this area that they could hang out at certain times of the day. And they said if the wind was blowing just right, certain quiet, and everybody would be really quiet, says you could hear a party going on over in San Francisco. So you could hear like there was people outside or something, some kind of party or something out there. And he said the thing that got them the most was the laughter of a woman. If they could hear this laughter of a woman, it just was electric. And then the guy was talking about how he was standing in the cafeteria. And if the cafeteria, he says, go over the window, look down, and you can see this road, outside kind of the walls, there's this road going up to someplace outside, where the guards were or something like that. And he said he was standing there, and he said a woman, they had boats, a woman got off a boat and was walking up that road. And he said it was the strangest thing and the strangest sensation. It's like it was an alien creature, you know, that he had a hard time getting his mind wrapped around. He said he couldn't, so it was extreme. Anyway, so you can imagine this poor nun in a monastery, you know. And so what she did is she slashed her face so that she was no longer attractive, so that she could concentrate on her contemplate. And the guys would leave her alone. Maybe.
I was gonna say, did it actually work?
I don't know. I hope so. It probably did. It probably helped, you know. It probably helped. Especially that she would do it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. I mean, one, I see you're really serious about this shit. I wasn't. I was just hanging out. And two, you got your point across. You know, you're a no-go. It's not going to happen. Thanks.
You might do it to me.
Hmm?
You might do it to me.
Yeah, that's right. I still have the knife. Anyway, you know, I'm just, you know, pressing in a direction here. Like I said, you're going to have to make the leap, and I'm sure some of these stories just fall on the, what? This is so weird. That's stupid. It's not, okay, I understand. And I'm not saying everything people do in this domain is intelligently done or smart, and nor does it always work out. That's the point. You don't know if it's going to work out or not. That's not the reason you do it. Say this samurai doing this, for example, you know, they knew some of them were going to die. Maybe all of them were going to die. That's not the reason they did it. And they certainly didn't do it for the money. Because there was none. They got rice. That was their payment. Rice.